that Kof Marchezman is the Yom Haledes, the birthday of the Rebbe Rashab. But those who are not familiar, the Rebbe Rashab was the Friedrich Rebbe's father, the fifth of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, beginning with the Alter Rebbe. Okay. Oh, Shalom Aleichem.
It's a little tilted too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, in Lubavitch, in the old days, Kof Marchezman, if you don't mind sitting in, taking a seat, moving and making my place. In Yiddish, there's an old saying, "Ich soll mal do Platz auf a zweite Yid." There's always place for a second Jew. Is your name Ethel by any chance?
Herzl? Yaakov Moshe.
Yaakov Moshe.
Oh,
Yaakov Moshe.
yeah.
Yaakov Moshe. Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov.
Yaakov Moshe.
Just any names.
Can't do it.
And it was always a day of arousal by the Lubavitch Chassidim. It was a day of what you might call a Sarah, because the Rebbe Rashab represented the whole inyan of what became symbolized in the yeshiva which he founded, Tomchei Tmimim. And he planned and considered founding the yeshiva for 10 years before he actually did it. 10 years is a long time for a great leader like a Rebbe to, you know the story about the Rebbe, you know the famous contrast from the Rebbe, it's right up till now, the contrast Beis Rabbeinu Asher Babahu, you know the famous sikha from the Rebbe all about 770, and how 770 is going to come over with Moshiach. There's a whole sikha from the Rebbe called Beis Rabbeinu, you have to have a chumen, Beis Rabbeinu Asher Babahu. The Rebbe kept that sikha for 2 weeks inside his siddur before he made it public. You know about that? The Rebbe, everywhere he went, he carried the sikha with him. In his holy office, the Rebbe had it the whole time on the table. And whenever he went to daven, he put it inside his siddur, and he went into 770. Only 2 weeks after, then he decided to actually give it to the... So that was considered a long time. Over here we have 10 years that the Rebbe Rashab considered and planned and shaped in his holy mind the whole inyan of Tomchei Tmimim. So it's one of the famous story that the Rebbe founded the yeshiva in the year Tov Reish Nun Zayin, and that was in the days of the Sheva Brachas of the Chasana of the Friedrich Rebbe. But that was in Elul Tov Reish Nun Zayin. And for 2 years the Rebbe didn't give the yeshiva any name. It was just called the yeshiva. But for 2 years he didn't give it any name. On Simchas Torah in Tov Reish Nun Tes, Ranat, you guys will probably learn some of the Maimorim from Ranat. In that year in Simchas Torah, our Rebbeim used to get, and the Rebbe also, our Rebbeim, I was there on numerous occasions, I saw the Rebbe get his akofah on many occasions. We used to give the Rebbeim the first Hakofa and the last Hakofa, the seventh Hakofa. Levi, stop yourself in. Talking about stooping, you guys, if you think that nowadays, during Tishrei in 770, they stoop, they push, it's nothing compared to how it was when the Rebbe was with us, the Golui. To go on Simchas Torah, it's just mind-boggling. So the Rebbe got the Rebbe Rashab, he got the last Hakofa on Simchas Torah, Tov Reish Nun Tet. And he was holding the Sefer Torah, and you say the Kruzim, you know, there's like poetic announcements that you make before each Hakofa, according to the Aleph base, you know. So one of the things that you say right at the end of those, just before the seventh Hakofa, is Toimech Tamimim Hoishiono, you say with a special chazonah. So the Rebbe began to say, holding the Sefer Torah. And before the Hakofa began, the Rebbe, he said, the Kruzim, and he said, Toimech Tamimim Hoishiono, and then all of a sudden he stopped. And he said, in Yiddish, he said out loud, was for Shaila, was wird sein the Nomen von the yeshiva? He said, what is Beklal, the question? What will be the name of the yeshiva? He said the yeshiva is called Tomchei Tmimim. That's what he said. Now there's a difference, because over there in the Chazonah from the Hakofa, it's talking about the Eiveshter, and it's talking in the single. Toimech Tamimim Hoishiono means that Hashem supports and He balances and He gives strength to the Tmimim. Over here, the Rebbe meant Tomchei Tmimim. He meant that all Anash, all Anshe Shlomeinu, they would be the supporters of the yeshiva, which means that the Rebbe gave everybody in Anash a portion in the yeshiva. And if you had money, then that was great. You gave money towards Tomchei Tmimim. If you didn't, you supported the Tmim and you backed them and you were for it and you put all your spiritual energy into it. You were also a Toimech Tamimim. However, and that's the plural, Tomchei Tmimim. However, we see that the name the Rebbe gave all the students who were going to learn at that point, and in the future would learn in the yeshiva ad Moshiach Koilo, are called Tmimim. How do you call it? Perfect ones, or how do you call it? Simple, or people who have in themselves the what you might call the perfection of simplicity. That's the idea of a tamim. So ask yourself the question, why did the Rebbe in his great, unbelievable Ruach HaKodesh, at that moment that he was holding the Sefer Torah, why did he call all of us? And I was saying when I was in Yechidas by the Rebbe, in Toshin Lamed Gimel, I heard from the Rebbe a whole piece about Tomchei Tmimim. The Rebbe spoke to me. And he said the program that we had in Kach Chabad was part of Tomchei Tmimim. The Rebbe told me before it. And then he said to me a couple of things about Tomchei Tmimim. So I asked myself the question, what is this union of Tmimim? What does it imply, and what does it have to say to us at this point in what you might call history, I hope there's not going to be much more history. I hope it's all going to be Euler and Niklal in the Gila of Mashiach Tekel Miyad. And that'll be a Alamayla Mi'azman type history, you know, it'll be eternity. But right now, we're still in what you might call history. What is the message for us? So, it's written at the beginning of the parsha, the life length of Sarah Imenu. If you look carefully, Sarah Imenu already passed away. She's not alive anymore. And we're talking about how long she lived. And then the whole rest of the parsha deals with all sorts of things that really don't have to do with the lifetime of Sarah Imenu. Nonetheless, the whole parsha is called CHAYEI SARAH, the life of Sarah, which means that Sarah Imenu must have had something in her that just describing her life length and talking about it by using the word life in reference to her, that a whole big parsha in the Torah is called on her name. And that becomes an eternal message in the Chumash. So we need to know what is this eternal message of Sarah Imenu that turns her into a life over the whole Sedra and the whole eternity when she's already dead. Now we're talking about her death occurred in the last parsha. Emamela comes along the Medrash, Rabbi, right here on the spot, and the Medrash says to us a very interesting remark. And it brings a pasuk from the Tehillim. And it says that David HaMelech, he said, Yodeya Hashem Yemei Tmimim. Well, those who are Tmimim, perfect people, Hashem knows their days. Yodeya Hashem Yemei Tmimim. He knows their days. So ask yourself the question, what does it mean Hashem knows their days? Of anyway, he knows their days. And then it goes on to say that tzaddikim tmimim heim. People who are emes tzaddikim, they are tmimim. Yeah, so, you know, the Reb Hillel said that halavaya beinani, would it that we would be beinani, all of a sudden tzaddikim, but anyway, the Medrash says that those who are tzaddikim are tmimim, and it says, not only they are tmimim, avol af shnoisom tmimim, even the days of their lives are also tmimim, how do you call it, perfect. So people look for a pshat, you know, what does it mean that the days or their years or the days of their lives are tmimim? People look for pirushim in that. What does that mean? That their life or the years of their lives are also tmimim. You have some problem?
I just want a pen.
You want a pen?
Don't worry.
That's, so what does it mean that their years are also tmimim? What does that imply? And what does it mean that Hashem, if you're a tomim, then Hashem knows your days. He as it were, follows your days and he knows them. So when you think about it, our days are rather, you know, limited sort of entities. if you think how much time of your lifetime you spend sleeping, yeah, I mean, it's quite a lot. And then you spend a lot of your lifetime eating, as you said. You spend a lot of your lifetime doing all sorts of things, yeah, which don't really seem to have to do with what you're really here for, you know. I mean, I guess they do, they must have. And doubtless they can have. We spend a lot of time on what seems to be like side issues. Comes along the Medrash, and the Medrash says somebody who, like Soreh, may know, then her days are Tmimim. So some of the great Meforshim, excuse me, but I would appreciate if you don't swap messages.
One time. I'm sorry.
Even though I must admit I don't know what's written in the message, maybe it was a high point in Torah or something to do with the class, but I prefer that it doesn't occur. So I solved the question, how do you make your days tmimim? How do you make your life of your years, which a heck of a lot of them go away on nothing, how do you make them tmimim? So what I want to do is give just a brief picture in this class of how the concept of tomim in the Torah of Lubavitch, how it develops from idea to idea, and how we get the picture of what is a tomim. But just before we begin, I'll tell you one more little story, but you have to be satisfied with that. And that is that once the Frierdiker Rebbe was at a public gathering. It could be that the Rebbe was accompanying him. But the Frierdiker Rebbe was at it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, this is my big left-hand man. I don't know if he's my right hand, but he's my right-hand man. He's not allowed to sleep. You know.
Yeah.
So the Frierdiker Rebbe was sitting in public. It was something like a dinner, you know, for Tomchei Tmimim, something like that. And all of a sudden, somebody stepped up to the table. Before, you know, the people who were looking after the Rebbe could maybe say, "What are you up to?" He stepped up to the Frierdiker Rebbe, and he said, in Yiddish, he said to the Rebbe, "Rebbe, what is a tomim?" He said, "Rebbe, what is a tomim? You know, what is a? Just tell me in one word, what a person who is a tomim, what's he about?" Yeah. So the Frierdiker Rebbe didn't bat an eyelid. He didn't say, you know, "Who are you?" He didn't say, "Apply to me another time," you know. Or he didn't say to the Rebbe or somebody, you know, "What's this guy doing here?" All of a sudden the Rebbe looked at him and he said, "Atomim is Hanochas Atzmusai." Now the phrase Hanochas Atzmusai, or that is a phrase from the Rebbe Rashab. It occurs often in the Maimorim of the Rebbe Rashab, and that means to put aside yourself. Atzmuto is his self, or yourself. The haniya with a pata, hanacha, means to put something aside. Of a lehoniya with a kometz means to put something on. Therefore, in the morning you make a bracha on the tefillin, asher kiddushana v'mitzvah v'tzivot lehoniya tefillin. So don't ever say with a komet, with a patach. Because if you say with a patach, then what you're really saying is to put the tefillin aside. You must always say with a komet lehoniya tefillin. If you say with a patach, It means to put it aside. So the Frierdiker Rebbe, he said, what is a Tomim? Somebody who takes his whole self and he puts that aside. Didn't he? Yeah? He said, yeah, he's putting it, that's what a Tomim is. So let's see if we can examine what sort of, what is the hidden message of these stories that the Rebbe called the whole yeshiva, the Rebbe Rashab, Tomchei Tmima. So, it's brought down in the Hemshchayim Beis, that's the Rebbe Rashab, which is probably one of the most remarkable documents that's ever been written. I don't think that anything can match the Hemshchayim Beis. First of all, it's several volumes, and the man just said it all out of his head, mimer after mimer. It's not a human thing, the Gemara says that I think it was Rebbe Chia, he said about Rabbi Yochanan, he said, Leis Dain Bar Nash. This is not the son of a woman. This is some sort of, godly figure. He said about Rabbi Yochanan, Leis Dain Bar Nash. This is not a human. So I think we could say it about the Rebbe Rashab. It's not human. Anyway, over there in Iron Base, it's written, just by the way, it's a commandment in the Torah, according to the Ramban, that you have to be a Tomim. There's a pasuk in Shoitim, near the end of the Torah, in Devarim. There's a pasuk over there, where it says, Tomim tiyeh im Hashem Elokecha. Yeah? You have to be a Tomim. So the Rambam says that that's a general idea. A Tomim is a general idea, and general things don't become mitzvahs. They're like general things in the whole Torah. The Ramban says that that's a mitzvah saseh min ha-Torah. He said that he called a positive commandment from the Torah. You have to be a Tomim. And there's many psukim both in the Torah and in the words of David HaMelech in the Tehillim and in Mishlei, urging us to be Tomim. Okay. So the Rebbe Rashab says over there in the Iron Base, he says that some people are born Tmimim. You can say about a person, he's a bit of a Tomim, or not a bit. Maybe you can say about him, he's a Tomim. So when you say that, what do you mean? So if you want to be slightly not complimentary, you could say it in a way that you imply he's a little bit sort of simple, He's a bit tmimus, Or, if you're being more exact in Lashon Kodesh, then what you're implying about this guy, I suggested on many occasions that we should have a big samovar. You know what a samovar? You guys are not informed. A samovar is a big coffee pot in Russia. And in the old days, they used to everybody would take a cup of tea. In Russia, they didn't drink coffee. It's tea they drank. Coffee's a Western business. They didn't used to drink coffee, they used to drink tea, but they had a big, hot burn in the table, and people could just take, whatever they wanted to sort of, feel. We have guys that, sloughing away. So if we had a samovar with coffee, we could have it. But I made the suggestion several times, but it never happened. Anyway, so what we recommend is that without the coffee, you try to remain awake. So, a Tomim can be somebody who is a Tomim B'maso. And by the way, over there in the Hakofas, The next statement is Tomim B'Ma'asor. The Abishter is described as a Tomim B'Ma'asor, which means that you do everything in a perfect way. In other words, if you're going to do a mitzvah, then you don't just do it to be yaitze, just chuck, but you put effort into it and you make it into a whole thing. And when you do a favor for somebody, you don't just, be yaitze and leave him, look after himself the most part of it, but you actually do him a favor in a real way. And all sorts of good things of that nature. If you give tzedakah, you don't just sort of give a pruta or something that doesn't matter to you anyway. You give something out of your income, And that's called a tomim b'ma'asor. He's tomim in the levush hamaisa. Then you can have a tomim, that he called b'deyosov. You can have somebody who's tomim in his mind. He thinks only good things, He wouldn't think a bad thing, chas v'sholem. He has that he called a perfectly shaped type of intellect that he thinks only good things and positive things. And if you ask him how's he doing, he will say, oh, Baruch Hashem, thanks to Hashem. He will never say, oh, I'm schlepping, but or like some people, even worse, you ask them how they are and they say, oh, I'm alive, well, that's very not good. But a tomim, b'deyosov, he will show that his mind is full of appreciation and thanksgiving to Hashem. And then you have a tomim, b'chokmosoi or b'moichak shaloi, but that's even deeper. When he learns, he always sees the positive side of it. He always learns out how you can learn that matter to chesed, not to gvura, chas v'shon, not to be super sharp with somebody, but you can understand that matter in a way of. And so that's also a tomim. He's a tomim in the way he would never learn something in a sharp way. It would always come out good. His brain would always shape him in a good way, in a positive chesed, or rachamim, but not din, not good. So that's a tomim. And that's called in Yiddish a ernster Mensch. How do you call it? A very earnest person. He's like that. Very, very shaped. And he would be called, in Yiddish, a ganzer Mensch. How do you call it?
Big man.
Perfect, or a whole. Very nice. That's a good word. A whole person. Yeah. So he's not only a whole person, but he's also wholesome, He would never, be involved in anything not positive, not beneged to himself, and not beneged to the world around him, and not to other people. So the Rebbe Rashab said, that's a very good person, but it's all the way he is. That's the way he is. You follow? So that's not the ultimate form of tmimus. And you have to realize that one of the things that Tomchei Tmimim came to teach us, that whatever you're born with and you make use of it, that is good, that's praiseworthy, but that's not what Tomchei Tmimim is about. You're supposed to, as it were, go over and beyond, even in good things, your nature. What's born in with you, that's only just a beginning, but it's not the ultimate aim, it's not the takli. So ask yourself the shaila, what does the Rebbe say over there is in effect the takli? Sit back where you were. Because there's another problem, that people who sit distant usually drop to sleep anyway, even if they're not tired. Is a mailer, what could be better than somebody that's a born tomim? He's a tamim b'ma'aso, b'dayoisov, and his way of reacting and looking, and his chokmah and his seichel and his brain, you know. Very nice. Comes along the Rebbe, and the Rebbe says that the whole purpose of chassidus was to make you another form of tamim. And that is like the Rebbe Rashab says that if you first of all have studied a great deal